is a variation. What's different, you see, is that I pretty much went around twice, and I went past the line for sure, and I had them tighter. So I just want to see if I can show you this one. And it only has one layer, right? There's only one layer on this one. I mean, there's only one, there's not two. Okay, oh, now see, somebody put this bat, see how it moves? Somebody put this bat on top of the kiln. Well, it should work though. Never put the bats on top of the kiln. Okay, oops, gonna make it go. So there's gonna be nothing in the center as always. This one isn't terribly wide. Okay, and this, yeah, that's a big bat. Okay, so I'm gonna go pretty far out, see? Now, make it go super slow. Yep. Start in the middle, go out and back, but I'm gonna go around twice. See, the other one I only went around once, remember? So, and if I go too fast, it'll be too tight. So you can't go too fast. I'm still aiming for here. And I'm gonna go around a second time. And I'm gonna try to get in between. I'm gonna try to fit it, so I'm kind of looking, I'm aiming my finger to try to obliterate that little line. So I'm staring more at the edge this time than the center. See how it's really building up in the center? Okay, see? I've totally wrecked that edge, that guideline. And then, see how much ended up in there? And boy, isn't that nice? All these little, the parts instead of it really radiates out. So you can do it stopped, taking this extra off if you want to. But see, I don't want to get into that territory right there, because that's the part I like so much. And then on this one, it looks like I used my thumb or something. Or did I go from the center out? I don't know how I did that center. Okay, so a little bit faster for the center. Kind of looks like I used my thumb. It looks like I went with my thumb sideways and then just stopped it. Yeah, that's how I did that one. See? See? So I used the side of the thumb, started from the center and went out to give that look, which was different than what we had seen before. Okay? And then I want to do one more. Mm-hmm. Okay, now this other one's a little bit different. This other one, I mentioned to you about the radial saw. So, and again, for practicing, you can just use the same slip over and over again. So the radial saw one, same sort of idea, chrysanthemum flower, but instead of aiming towards the center and out, I'm going to aim from here out to my spot and back. Okay, so it kind of gives a feeling like a rotational, like it's tumbling. I don't have a drawing of this one. It's kind of fast. It's all right though. Okay, so that one's different. And then if you wanted to, you could do a little spiral towards the center. See what I like about that one? It gives these little things here, but it kind of doesn't go all the way around. So then you'd have to decide: is it okay to do it? That's too fast. You'd have to decide: is it okay to do it more than once? But see, it always erases it a little bit. So for that one, you have to decide: do I erase this part mostly? So you're gonna have to make some decisions, because it's an asymmetrical. And I have one more I want to talk about too. This other one has to do with rhythm. So if when you do the chrysanthemum, and yeah, well, there's another thing you can do too. After you do one, you can also edit and take parts off with your riff. But okay, so the other thing here, let's say I did out, back, wait. It's like, so instead of going 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 rhythm, Let's say I did a 1, 2, wait, 3, 4, 1, 2, wait, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, so it's going to be a tight spike and a wait. Okay. Okay, and then if you did the, of course you always have to wipe that off. Then if you did a faster one, see, this is the 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 rhythm. Okay, so that gives you a different sort of look. And the other thing I was mentioning, you can always also use your rib, even on your finished one, and take parts of it off. Maybe you wanted to cut those parts off, huh? And maybe you wanted to cut this part off. So you can do this with your rib or your sponge, and you've just edited it. So that's another thing. And while the camera's still going, I'm going to just go ahead and show you, because I kind of forgot to talk about that. You see how different this is looking the whole time. So if let's say I were just to overlay the two fingers on top of this. So I'm basically obliterating it, just for the practice, doesn't matter. But you could also, now usually it's the center of this is what I like, but I just want to show you how it looks different if we just took part of this away. See how different that looks? So now that's a super strong edge contrasted by this wobbly edge, right? So now let's see, how does that look like if you were to just obliterate that part and make the two edges be smooth, see? So these are the kind of things you can practice while you're in the practice slip part. This next one, I'm going to do actually a variation of the Mercedes-Benz. I call this one Mercedes-Benz because I divide the space into 120 degrees, just like the Mercedes-Benz symbol. And this one I call Turkish handwriting. This particular one, so this is the basic pattern. This is how it starts. It starts off with nothing and a pretty wide white wall. The first one I'm going to show you is I'm going to divide at 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And what I'm going to do is somewhere between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock, I'm making a figure of 8 over here in this area here. And what I'm doing is, do you see how I made these big long poles? Well, I'm going to do 4 of them instead of 3, and then I'll do the 3. Well, then I'm going to make some little teeny ones in between, little guideposts. But for the big long ones, I'm going to go way around. So as the wheel is spinning, I'm coming around this one and then around that one. But I'm letting the wheel come to me as opposed to me moving my arm. So I'm just making an 8 over here, around this post, around that post, around this post, around that post. Okay, so here's how we do the 4-way one. Okay, so center, nothing, and edge. So this one you have to do a nice job on your edge, both of your edges. You spin, be nice and steady. Okay, now stop the wheel. Make my 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Okay, halfway in between, I put a little dot and a little dot here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, wait, sorry. Sorry, just a minute. Yeah, sorry. So when the big marks are there, and then halfway in between, you can put a little dot there, but you need to put a big mark there, and then halfway in between these two. So this is kind of like northeast, right? This is southeast, right? This over here would be southwest. You put a big one. And then northwest, halfway between these two. Okay, so those are going to be your big ones. So I just put the dot there just to kind of help you see where to put the big line. But here's how this goes. So this one has to be very, very slow. Hardly, like excruciatingly slow. That's good. And what you want to do is come around here. Oops, that's too fast. So come around and then around here. Boy, it's almost too fast. Around. Well, I'm doing a 4. I'm going to do a 4, and then I'll do the 3. come around the post, go way around this one. So you're making little loops around the actual big posts, okay? And I'm pressing pretty hard, and I only do this once. And then I'm going to use the side of my finger, and then I'm going to bisect the areas, so in between each two. So I'm kind of seeing where to go. Now you could have given yourself some little goalposts there too. So this one, it's only once. So what this one demonstrates is harmony and repetition, because the first four I laid down were the wide one with the tip of my finger. The ones where I bisected it, that I used the edge of my finger. And I really love what happens on the inside here. So now let me just redo this just for practice again and show you as the Mercedes-Benz. All right, I probably should have let you look at it. So again, with the editing, you can see what happens with the editing. Okay, so for a Mercedes-Benz, I'm going to go my 120 degrees. Okay, and then halfway in between the big post, halfway in between these two, the big post, halfway in between these two is the big post. And as I was saying, you know, you could put your little goal posts for when you do the second time around. Second time around, that'll be the little ones. So those are your little guide marks. Okay, here we go. So now super slow. Yep. And it seems excruciatingly slow, but once you start doing it, you gotta keep your hand over here between, kind of like between 3 and 4 o'clock on the clock position. Yeah, you just have to let it come to you, okay? So I'm gonna start here, let the wheel come to me. I'm gonna come around this post here, and you let the wheel come to you. You go around that post, come around this post. I'm using the big wide part of my finger. Let it come to you. Come around this one. And then that's it for this, because this is only 3. So if your plate's smaller, you can do a 3. Then, I already have my little things helping me to know where I'm supposed to go for the next one. So I start here, using the edge of my finger to make the narrower mark. Let it come to you. Don't try to get ahead of yourself. Come around here. Let it come to you. So I'm pushing into it, and then I'm pulling away from it. And then this is my last one. I'm just going to connect it to the first one I just made right there. Okay, for this next, this is the last one here. I call this one the atomic. This one you start with a solid circle. You're going to go right between 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Straight line, back and forth, back and forth. And you know, that's something I didn't mention about the chrysanthemum. If you have a ruler, you can put a ruler down, or like the handle of a wooden spoon, and actually keep your finger in contact with the wood the whole time, because I'm doing straight lines, but they look curved because of the motion of the wheel. Okay, so this particular one, I'm just trying to go straight, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, how do you get it loopy? Because if they're too tight, see how some of these are kind of tight over here, right? So it looks like I made one whole pass where I was moving my hand way too fast. And then the second time I went around, that's when I slowed down with my arm. So you have to decide, do you want these spikes? Do you only want loops? Do you only want spikes? What do you want? So, and then you just have to practice to try to get whatever it is you're trying to get. Okay, so again, most likely, does it say anything about the speed? It says hand fast, wheel slow. So I have these little guides here for you. So hand fast, wheel slow. So, but if they're too fast, they'll be too close. So anyway, the point is it's a slow wheel. Okay. Now that seems way too slow. Let's try a little. That's too fast. Let's see what happens here. So I'm just trying to make a straight line. Now, if you go over the same spot, see I'm kind of going over the same spot. So either I have to speed up a little, and now I ended up on a new axis. I ended up on a new axis over here. So you're going to have to practice that one. But again, let me remind you about the editing, right? when you do your editing, you can end up with a totally different design that you kind of like, or you can add your little spiral to it. Okay, but let me try it again. So I went from going 9 to 3, and I ended up going like 2 to 7, kind of. So maybe I'm more comfortable 2 to 7. So you gotta figure that out too. I think this one, it is important to have a nice, decent edge. So remember how we got the edge? Back off. Okay, here we go. So let's try. Let's try kind of slow. When it goes slow, you give yourself a half a chance of trying to put it where you want it. If it's too fast, you just don't have much control. So let me try to go something like this. And this time my elbow is not on my leg. Now see, now I can try to aim it. I can try to, so I can't see what's happening down here, but I can try to aim it into those spots where I don't have anything. But see, to me that feels a little too tight. So that would mean I would have to make my arm, so if I go faster, that makes it worse. So I actually have to slow my arm down. So maybe putting my arm on my leg. Yeah, I guess that does help. Okay, so let's try it. Oh yeah, by the way, you can also do your spiral from the center out. There's no law that says you have to go from the you can also go from the edge in. Okay, so let me try it. Let me try it. I'm just gonna try it a little faster, and that way I'll have more open loops. There, see? So I had to have the wheel a little faster. So to me that looks rather atomic. So the other thing I wanted to mention was when you do your spiral, you could have also started from the edge. Always take your foot off. This time you're staring at the right side of your finger instead of the left side of your finger. And you can come up with your own design too. I also wanted to mention, one of my students came up with this pattern, and the other students really liked it. And what he did was he had it going super, super slow. He used, I think he used 2 fingers. And I can't remember if he went from the center in or from the outside in. But anyway, he made like a clover. He kind of made like 3 little loops like this. And then the next one he went a little bigger out. So there's 1, here's 2, here's 3, and then the next time around you go a little bigger out. So the point is, try and find your own pattern too.